What's up, guys? Welcome to Top Deck City. It's Zavbro here, and today I want to go over my experience and list from internationals this past weekend. I've taken a couple days to kind of get it refreshed and get caught back up into the routine of things. Last week I went on a lot of vacations and stuff, and I kind of capped it off by going internationals in Indy. So all in all, this was my very first major event this season. I went in with nothing to lose and really nothing to gain, unless I won the whole thing. And I really didn't think that was going to happen, but you never know. Fingers crossed. And that's how I went in with the mindset of let's just go and have some fun and see what happens. As I stated in the previous video, this was my very first year playing competitively, starting back in January. A couple friends and I, like I said, started back in January playing, and we didn't really start playing competitively until February. But check that video out, and you will hear my whole backstory on how I really got into competitive gaming and competitive Pokemon trading card game here. And it'll explain everything, it'll kind of get you caught up to speed to here. But anyways, so my friends and I decided that we want to go to at least one major event to get some serious experience. You know, we want to go here. This is the last major event of the season. Let's play this event, get our feet wet in a regional arena before we start playing really competitively next season. Here in Houston, we do play a lot of good people, not good people, but a lot of great players like Brad and John Kettler. We see those guys every once in a while of our League Cups, so we know we've played against them and had the experience against them, but we've never really played against a lot of the other guys out there like Raul or other people like that. So we figured, why not go to the biggest one this year, right? Wouldn't be too bad. Overall, we had a lot of fun. We really learned a lot from people there, played a lot of different decks. I mean, of course, we played the meta, but we had some fun all in all, and we met some great people and had a great experience. But enough about that. Let's get down to the list and the results from this past weekend. So as you can see here, I went with VikaBulu. I started off with the deck once I saw it at Madison when it was created by Charlie Locker. Sorry if I mispronounced your name there, man. We made top 8. And I had been seeing Bulu, and I was like, Bulu it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And then after I saw what he did and adding it with VikaBulu, and I was like, man, this deck can be really, really good. So I took it there, I tested it a lot, and I really, really enjoyed it. Initially, my testing started with Ether Paradise Conservation Area, and it did help, but that was just taking up some deck space from other things that were more important. So let's just go ahead and go right through it. Let's kind of explain the deck here, and then I'll tell you about my matchups here. So of course, your main attacker is Bulu with Horn Attack for 30, Nature's Judgment for 120, Discard Energy doing 180, and then you can bump it up to 210 with the Choice Band. Choice Band was very clutch. It definitely helped me out with Espeon Garb. It helped me out with Blacklist with the 190 because you can't hit it for 180, but I mean you're hitting it for weakness, so it doesn't really matter. And Choice Band just helped, hitting those numbers that you needed to hit, because yes, you will hit for 180, but it doesn't hit for 200, and that's what you kind of need against Espeon. So as you can see, I'm going to cover it in a second, you kind of see something there. This is your main setup. Your goal is to get this set up by turn 2. Once it's set up by turn 2, really that's all you need. As long as they aren't hexing, as long as they aren't Garbotoxing with Garbodor, you can just stream them on and just keep hitting for 180 every single turn. So one of my biggest fears going into this internationals was Metagross. Like, I played it so much here and I could never beat it, and I was just like, how can I beat that deck? Because like that's the one deck that I'm worried about the most. Like Zoroark, not really worried about it. Espeon, not really worried about it. Like Volcanian, it's 50-50, but Metagross was just that one deck I could not beat, and so everyone was like, attack with Baby VikaBulu. It has resistance to steel, which it does, but it discards 3 every turn, and I was like, that's a lot of energy to throw away. Granted, Bulu's throwing away 3 as well, but and it only hits for 150. Metagross is pretty tanky, and Metagross can just 2-shot you or play Kukui and then 1-shot you. So I was like, why not throw in VikaBulu GX? it has a pretty decent attack. It hits from 180 straight up. So you throw a choice spin on, then you're doing 210. And you're only discarding 2 energies instead of 3. And its GX attack is actually pretty nice. I'm going to actually go over one of my matchups later where the GX attack was pretty awesome. And it attacks for 1 energy just like Bulu. Bulu attacks for 1 energy for 30, but VikaBulu attaches for 1 energy for 50, and it pulls the energy out of this card pile and attaches. So next turn, you can just use Strong Charge, attach the 2, and hit for 180, and you're good. Now, some people will say that's very clunky. You're running two stage 2s. This was very situational. This was more of like a tech card. It did come into play a couple matches and did help out, but in certain matches, it never saw the field. And I saw it in my hand. I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't need this. Throw it away. So it was strictly for Metagross and Metagross only. I only saw Metagross once. But other than that, I mean, it did come in handy against, you know, Volcanian, who can power up and steam up to hit that 180 and knock you out. While this does a flat 180 and just it can take out Volcanian pretty quickly. It did help out with Volcanian, but I'll get into more a little bit about that later. Like I said, it was barely out of the 9 matches I played, only used it twice. My record was 4-4-1. I started off in a hole, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Oricorio was in here because everyone was playing Vespiquen. Everyone had to have a counter for Vespiquen, and honestly, this actually came in clutch in the most awkward match ever. And I never saw Espeon, so this card was only played in 1 game, and that 1 game it won the game for me. It came down to it at the very end, and it won it for me. So I'll cover that in a second. But this card, very clutch. We played 2 Tapu Leles. You could essentially play 3. I was keeping the bench space as small as possible, just like as a practice thing for Zoroark, because you don't want to give Zoroark bench Pokemon. But granted, you know, Zoroark Break would just use Foul Play and just use Nature's Judgment for 180. Yes, but if they can never get to the break, you don't want to fill up your bench. So I only played 2 Leles. I only ever needed 2. There was never really a time when I was like, man, I need that 3rd Lele. But if I could do it again, I probably would put a 3rd Lele in there just for that consistency. Ran 2 Energy Cyclers. They were very clutch and very helpful for this. When I was playing against Garb, you know, you have your Brock's Grid. And other than that, just use your Energy Cyclers and it was perfect. We ran 2 Field Blowers, 3 Rare Candies, 1 Heavy Ball, 3 Ultra Balls. A lot of people were saying you should run 4. I ran 3. I didn't really need more than that. Honestly, I probably would prefer to run more Heavy Balls than Ultra Balls because I personally don't like throwing away things that might be needed. I kind of have this thing where every card in my deck is needed. But you know, Heavy Ball lets you search out for your VikaBulu. It lets you search out for your Charge Bug. It lets you search out for your Bulus. Almost every Pokemon in this deck can be searched out by Heavy Ball, except for Oricorio or Lele or Grubbin. I ran 3 Verse Seekers. I usually just run 2, but ever since I ran 3, I can never go back to running 2. Just having those 3 Verse Seekers helped out a lot when you need to get those certain cards that you need, and I don't know how I was running with 2 beforehand. So Bridget here is a huge staple. Out of the 20 some odd matches I've played, I want to say over 90% of them I was able to Lele for Bridget turn 1, and that was awesome. I was kind of scared because I was doing a lot of testing and I was practicing consistently getting, hey, make sure you Lele into that Bridget turn 1, but then I'll be in Top Deck City, as the name of the channel is. I'll be at Top Deck City looking for a draw supporter for several turns in a row, and then we'd be screwed. So it was more of I started getting a little bit more cautious about it. I would just look at my hand and was like, can I get this Bridget out turn 1 and be okay? And if I didn't feel comfortable with it, then yeah, I would turn 1 Bridget. And it sucked because I love getting that board set up with Bridget and just be like, I'm done. I don't need any more Pokemon on the bench. And I always like to leave that 1 extra spot open for Lele in the future if you need to get a supporter. A lot of people don't know why you play Hex because you're shutting off your abilities, but Hex is great against Decidueye matchups. It's great against anyone that might need, to use abilities. I love turn one hexing people just to kind of slow them down, and it's just always in here. And if you ever need it, I thought about possibly playing two, but it just was too much. So I just dropped it back down to one. I played two Lysanders. That was perfect amount. Only played two ends. A lot of people were like, you should play three, and I was like, I didn't really need it. I preferred Sycamoring over inning because I just wanted to get those cards. And if you end, yes, you're putting certain things back into the deck like energy and stuff, but being able to draw that extra card or extra two cards was just very crucial. Better. Olympia was in here if in case we ever got item locked, we need to rotate out, or if we had some damage or anything, just to be able to switch out. Because as you can see, we don't play a lot of switches. We play two float stones, but usually you have this guy sitting up front. He's tanking everything, and then once he gets knocked out, you just send the next one in. He tanks everything. So Olympia was rarely played. Floatstone was played a lot. Floatstone was mainly attached to the Vikavolt, baby Vikavolt, just in case it got Lysandered up or something. But mainly your tool that's attached to this is Choice Band, so you can hit 210. Now, I did get a lot of feedback on why you're playing Kukui. Kukui is pointless. Kukui helped out in a lot more instances than you would think, especially against Espeon Garb. You hit for 180, so that means if you don't hit another 20, that Espeon is going to come back around and hit you next turn. And sometimes you just don't have that choice band. Like, I thought maybe running 3 choice band would be better, but, I preferred having 2 because then I could just use a tech in it to Kukui because A, you're getting 2 more cards. There's nothing wrong with drawing 2 more cards. And if it just so happened to be a choice band, then great, hit for 230. That helps against those Metagross matchups. 230 if they don't have a max potion. Just Lysander it up. You don't even have to throw away your energy next turn. If you Lysander it up, just hit it for Horn Attack and get the knockout. But Kukui actually helped out a lot in those Espeon matchups. It helped out a lot when you couldn't get that choice band. You needed to hit that extra 20. So, like I said, 3 Sycamores, wouldn't change that. Sometimes maybe pushing it to 4 might have helped, but I never found myself needing more than 3. Plus, you have your Verse Seekers to get it back. Skyla was very, very crucial. Skyla's always great to get that extra piece that you need. I would do a lot of, Lele, Winter Tag for Skyla, Skyla for Rare Candy or Ultra Ball or Heavy Ball, and get that Vikavolt out. I only ran 1 initially, and then I was like, Skyla's too good. I need to run a second one just in case, you ever get Skyla prize. So, of course, I ran 2 of them. It was never, I didn't, it was perfect. I enjoyed having 2. And we ran 6 grass and 5 lightning, and I was scared about that at first because I like to run at least 7 or 8 grass. 5 lightning is a perfect number. You never want to have more than 5. You only need 1 per attack. 6 grass was a little bothering me. I was like, oh man, that's not enough grass. I think I need more grass. But as the day went on, I was hitting my Brocks, I was hitting my energy recyclers, I was able to keep them in the deck, so it wasn't too major. And I think I only had 1 or 2 matches where I had 2 Vigavolt set up, and then there was times when I didn't even strong charge because I wanted to save the energy for the next time. So 6 to 5 ratio is a pretty good ratio. Might want to go 7 to 5 maybe. All in all, I don't think the only thing I would change about this deck is maybe another Lele and another Field Blower. I went to Indy with 3 Field Blowers in the deck, and I was like, that's perfect. You're not running any stadiums. It's going to help you out there. Started the day off, very first match, needed a Field Blower in the worst way, could never find it. Both of them were in the deck, I just couldn't get it. And I cut out, I believe I dropped the Field Blower for an extra, I want to say I did it for an extra Flowstone. I think it was extra Flowstone. I don't quite remember which one it was. I don't think it was an extra Burst Seeker. I think it was an extra Flowstone. And I regretted it. I just could never get the Field Blower when I needed it. And it sucked. So, other than that, I mean, after that first matchup, things started going a little bit better. And it wasn't too needed, but it just sat in the back of my mind that, that third Field Blower would have been nice to have just because so you could hit it. So let's go ahead and go over our matchups here. Let's see here. Our first matchup was Espeon Garb. That was rough. Our first matchup was Drampa Garb. I take that back. It was Drampa Garb, and I knew that was going to be a tough matchup from the get-go. Honestly, there's nothing I could have done. I mean, I dead drew those two games, just dead drew. Couldn't get the VikaVolt charged up. By the time I got the VikaVolt charged up, the Garbotoxin Garb was down, and that was it. That's all she wrote. I couldn't do anything about it. As I 0-2'd that one, and I just kind of like shook the guy's hand. We were done in like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes max actually. He did very well, but yeah, I just was like, you know what, I'm done. I first, just to get the first loss out the way, it was rough. Second matchup was against Volcanian. Now Volcanian is very 50-50. It is very 50-50 with this Bulu matchup. If you don't get set up first before they get set up, they win. And it's just a matter of who gets set up first. It's just a matter of who can get those numbers first and who dead draws. The first game, he was dead drawing a little bit. I was dead drawing a little bit. It was going back and forth. And then finally, he got set up. I couldn't get set up, and he just steamrolled me. Game 2, he actually scooped because he was not drawing energy. He wasn't drawing supporters. It was just, and I was getting set up slowly. I was just taking my time. He scooped, and we just went straight to game 3. Game 3, like I told you guys, this guy came in clutch. Game 3, we were going back and forth. He was getting set up. I was getting set up. I took out his Starmie. He couldn't take out my VikaVolt, but he had already got his Turtonator set up. He had gotten his Volcanian EX set up, so he was ready to hit hard whenever he needed to. And at the late game, I knew he could one-shot my Bulu after a couple of steam ups. I knew he could one-shot it, so I was just like, you know what? We're gonna throw VikaVolt GX out here. He can't one-shot it because he's only got 2 Volcanian EXs up, so he can only steam up twice. So there's no way he can one-shot it. So we got to time. I believe I was turn 0, and I Gigatron GX'd to steal one more prize card. Because I think the prize race was 3-2, 3-1 at that point. So I stole 1 prize card by knocking out his Starmie on the bench with the Gigatron GX. And then after that, he just kept hitting me. On his turn, he drew his cards. He couldn't get the energy back with the Starmie, so I think he played an energy recycler or energy retrieval. I think he got 2 back, and he steamed them up, and he hit VikaVolt. Couldn't knock VikaVolt out. He hit VikaVolt. I think he was with the baby Volcanian or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. My turn, I played a Lele, and I got the Lysander, and I Lysandered up I believe it was, I Lysandered up I want to say it was a Volcanian. Lysandered up a Volcanian that I think had like 1 or 2 energies on it. And it was a risk because at this point I was playing for the tie because I had no way of knocking him out. I had no energies in the deck, so I couldn't strong charge. I had no energies in the deck. So at this point, I was just hoping that I could just charge beam him once and then charge beam him again. I was like this at this point. I was just like charge beam him once, get an energy attached, and then just pray that he does not top deck anything. I also end him to 1 card. I end him to 1 card, forcing him to be in top deck city, and hoping that he wasn't going to draw a Lysander or a Switch or something. So his top deck from the end was a Switch already, or a Floatstone. So he had it out already. The problem was he couldn't knock out the VikaVolt. So he needed something to be able to knock it all the way out because he had no energy, so he could only do 130. I believe the VikaVolt had like 50 on it or something like that, so he couldn't knock out the VikaVolt. So he top decks a Verseeker for Lysander, and he Lysanders up like a baby Grubbin, I believe. It was a Grubbin or a Charge Bug, one of those 2. And he just hits it for 130 because he attached the Flowstone and got he got the Volcanian up, and he knocked it out. It was close. It was really close. It came down to turn 3. It was tough for me because I was like, damn, now I'm in this 0-2 hole, meaning I have to win 7 straight to get to day 2. And Seeing how this was my first event, I didn't think it was I was gonna be able to pull it off. I was really in the mindset of, man, there's no way I'm gonna make it because I haven't even played Zoroark yet. I haven't even played Espeon Garb yet, which is a weakness for me. I hadn't even played a mirror match of VikaBulu, which is also a tough matchup. So it was like I haven't even played the top decks. I hadn't even played Metagross yet. That's how I was like. The first two games put me in a rough spot. So I go into game 3 thinking, man, this is gonna suck. You know, I don't even know what's gonna happen. Let's see what happens. And I end up playing Mega Mewtwo. Which one was it? It was a Psychic Infinity one. Yeah. So we end up playing. We'll pull the forward one out. End up playing Mega Mewtwo. Now, this was the very first deck I started playing with. As if you go back to check my last video, you'll hear me talk about my experiences with Mega Mewtwo. This was the first meta deck I played with before Trash Lynch came into the scene. Before Espeon EX came on the GX came onto the scene. I love this deck. I just loved being able to hit the numbers, just blowing people up 30 times amount of energy on both, and just piling energies on it. I loved it. But when I sat down and saw the guy was playing Mega Mewtwo, honestly, first of all, I could see how he became O2, and I was just kind of curious. I was like, how are you playing Mega Mewtwo here when you know the meta is Garb, and Garb hits you for weakness? So we started off, first game I kind of just blew through him. You know, I won the first game. It wasn't easy. He didn't know what Bulu did, so when I hit him for that 210 with the choice band, he was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, so I do 180, you know, that whole spill. And he was like, oh. So he was kind of taken aback because he was just had the little Mewtwo on the bench powered up. So he switched it in and thought he was going to get the knockout. He was going to, thought he was going to survive. It didn't happen. The second game, I'm still confused on how I lost this game. I wasn't really sure how I lost it. It's confusing to me because I feel like I should have 2-0'd Mega Mewtwo. I mean, I hit for 210. That's the highest HP he's got. He did have an Espeon GX tacked into it, so the confusion did kind of hurt a little bit. So that kind of did slow me down. I think that might have been the reason why I lost it, but I was kind of upset. I was like, I just lost to Mega Mewtwo. This deck should not be beating me, and I don't want to go down 0-3, because if I go down 0-3, there's no way I don't have a shot at all trying to, you know, get into the top cut at all. So game 3 starts, and he had a Hoopa start. I had the setup I wanted. Like I told you, I was hitting that turn 1 Bridget basically almost every game. So he had a Hoopa start. I started with Bulu, and this was one of those times when I turned 1 Bridget and I was stuck in top deck city. I wasn't drawing energy. I wasn't drawing supporters. I was drawing supporters. I just wasn't drawing the supporters I needed. I wasn't drawing energy because I only run 11, so it's kind of hard to draw them. And the items I was drawing were all great items that I could use, but later. I would get a rare candy, but no Ultra Ball or VikaBulu, you know. And so I attached a choice band, hit his Hoopa for 60, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna knock out this Hoopa. So I hit the Hoopa again next turn. So Hoopa's at 120, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna let you knock out this Hoopa. And that kind of told me that he wasn't quite ready to power through to power through and get set up, you know. So I kind of just stopped attacking. I just kind of was like, pass turn. He's like, you're not gonna attack? No. Pass turn. You're not gonna attack? No. And that was letting him get his Mega Mewtwo set up. But at the same time, I was getting set up as well. So once Mega Mewtwo was finally set up, and once I was ready to go, once the Bulu had enough energy and I had a VikaBulu set up, I went ahead and Lysandred up the Mega Mewtwo and knocked it out. And I was paying attention because he threw away 1 Mega Mewtwo early in the game. When he Hoopa'd, he had a second Hoopa. When he Hoopa'd again, he grabbed a Shaman and a regular Mewtwo. No, he grabbed a Shaman, Mewtwo, and a Mega Mewtwo. And then he Ultra Balled and threw away the other Mega Mewtwo away. So he only ran 2 Mega Mewtwo. He only ran 3 Mega Mewtwo. So once I saw that, I was like, everyone that plays this deck only runs 3. No one ever runs 4. At that point in time, I went ahead and was like, all right, let's knock it out. So I knocked it out. It kind of stalled him. It kind of knocked him off balance, knocked his game off. He didn't really know how to recover. When they called time, I only needed 2 more prizes. I think he was turn 0. Yeah, he was turn 0. And I only needed 2 more prizes. And this guy straight up goes to me and he says, hey, I'm not going to be able to win, so I'm going to stall this out and try to make a tie. And I was like, well, you can, but we're already in the 0, 1, 2 turn phase. So unless you can get 5 prizes within the next 2 turns, it might be a tie, but you never know. I don't know what I can draw. So at this point in time, I had a Lysander in hand. I had a Bulu powered up on the bench. He was going to knock out the active Bulu and take 2 prizes. I already knew I had the game at this point. Unless he ended me, I already knew I had the game. So of course he knocks out the active Bulu. I send the second one up. I Lysander up the Hoopa, who only had 50 HP on it left, and I knocked it out and got the game. So he wasn't kind of expecting that. He was kind of caught off guard. He had completely forgot that the Hoopa was on the bench with energy on it or damage on it. But I was like, I can't lose to Mega Mewtwo. So on to game 4. Game 4 we played against Gyarados, and I kind of expected to see some Gyarados. It's a really good card. It's the fact that you can have 2 tools on it helps it get the numbers that you need, and it's a 1 prize attacker while you can take out 2 prizes with no problem. This was actually a really tough matchup. I won the first game simply because he could not get the Gyarados. He just kept feeding me Magikarps that had 1 HP on it. So all I had to do was Horn attack him all the way. And I felt bad for the man. I talked to her, I was like, hey man, I guess you just couldn't get the Gyarados. He was like, I couldn't get the DCE, I couldn't get the Gyarados. And honestly, I just wasn't working. So he had to scoop. Game 2, I couldn't get set up. He was getting everything that he needed. I couldn't get set up. And he won. Game 3 was probably the most I had sweat at this tournament. It was tough. Game 3, I had been playing 3 games the last couple of rounds. The first game 3 was like heart pounding. Came down in turn 3. I was like, I was going for the tie. He got the top deck and got the win. The other game 3 was round 3, and I was just like, I shouldn't even be in this game 3. But it was just like, you know, you don't want to really be in game 3s because you lose, you're done. You win, you win. Yeah, there's no more, okay, let's play it again, you know. And so when I lost game 2, I think I just ended up scooping because I couldn't get anything going, and I just was like, you know what, let's just go to game 3. Game 3, we both kind of get the setup that we need. I'm letting him keep his magma base out there. I'm paying attention to what he's doing. He's getting his Machop down, but he's throwing his Machoke away because I don't have any Pokemon that can snipe the bench, you know? At least he doesn't know that. All I'm doing is just hitting him with Bulu, I think at one point I hit him with VikaBulu for weakness. This VikaBulu here. So it gets down to we get to turns, basically. I need 3 prizes. He needs 2. So all I have on my bench is a VikaBulu. That's it, VikaBulu. Not even fully charged up, just a VikaBulu. And I had, before I had Oricorio in my hand. I was like, I don't need you. Get out of my hand. So I end him down to 2 cards, be down to 3. And I draw the Oricorio again. I'm like, why do you keep coming in my hand? Why are you here? And then I thought about it. I was like, his Magikarp are on the bench. This could work out in my favor. So now the VikaBulu I had Oricorio and a Lightning Energy in my hand. This VikaBulu had a Flowstone on it because I always Flowstone my VikaBulus just in case they get caught up in the Lysander stall or something like that. So I play the Oricorio, attach to energy, Flowstone retreat out to the Oricorio, and I knock out 2 of his Magikarps on the bench because he's got like 5 Pokemon in the discard pile, and I knock out those 2 and put 3 on the Gyarados and active. So of course this is like, oh my, he's caught off guard here. He did not expect it. So he plays his hand out. I mean, he played the perfect hand. He played 2 Rescue Stretchers, got the Machoke out of the discard pile, put it onto the Machop on the bench. Played another Rescue Stretcher, got 2 Magikarps and the Gyarados, I believe. Yeah, because he had no Magikarps on the bench at this point. So he played two. He got two Magikarps and the Gyarados, and his active. What was his active? His active was Octillery. Actually, so I put 3 on Octillery. So he plays 2 Magikarps and the Gyarados, gets him into the deck, shuffles the deck. He plays 2 Ultra Balls and clears out his hand, gets the Magikarp, and gets the Octillery. So his active must have been something different. Then his active was a Gyarados. No, his active was a Magikarp. So I guess I didn't knock out the active Magikarp. I guess I put 2 on the active. I don't remember exactly where I put the damage. I don't remember. It was a while ago. So he gets a Magikarp in the active. He has Octillery on the bench and Machoke on the bench now. So he plays an Ultra Ball and an Ultra Ball. He gets the Octillery, gets another Magikarp, and he gets an Octillery and he gets a was it a Lele? Somehow he gets another Pokemon, and he Octillery for 5, gets the Gyarados, gets the DCE, and I'm thinking the Oricorio is about to go down. And I'm like, I don't have anything in my hand that's gonna help me out here. Like, if he takes out the Oricorio, I'm gonna send him the VikaBulu and hopefully strong charge for 2 to get the knockout for weakness and get the game. I hadn't done a deck search in a while, and I was kind of worried about it. So I was just like, he's gonna knock out. I'm thinking he's gonna knock out the Oricorio. He Lysanders. He plays Lele down. Lysanders out the VikaBulu, knocks the VikaBulu out. So then Oricorio comes up. Now his Gyarados only has like 30 damage on it, so I can't one-shot it. He just cleared out his deck, his discard pile of Pokemon. And I top deck a Hex Maniac. And he's got 2 Magikarps on the bench, only knock out 1. So when I see that I have the Hex, I'm like, can I see your discard pile? Look through discard pile. He's got 1 Gyarados. Just one Gyarados in the discard pile. So I give it back, play a Hex, knock out a bench Magikarp. And he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, in your discard pile, you got 1 Gyarados. And he goes through and sees it, and he's like, damn. I'm like, yeah, that was close. It was clutch. Oricorio came in clutch. Like, the one card I teched in just for Vespiquen and never saw Vespiquen came in clutch against Gyarados. So I'm feeling pretty good. My 2-2, I'm like, all right, maybe I can pull up this 5-win streak. Maybe it's good to come to the loser side of the bracket. Round 5, mirror match. And I don't know what it is, but when it comes down to mirror matches, as I was saying, round 5, mirror matchup. Game 1, I just scooped because he got set up, got 2 VikaBulu set up, was powering through anything I sent up. Bulu was hitting for 180. Game 2, it was complete opposite. I got 2 VikaBulu set up. I was killing every Bulu that he sent up. He was getting Bulus back into the deck using Brock's Grit, getting a mag. He was playing it smart, and I was like, this is going well. I should be able to get this win and force a game 3. He pulls up he Lysanders up a VikaBulu, knocks it out. It's like, all right, that's just 1. And then I do a strong charge, no energies in the deck. And I'm like, I need to find an energy recycler or a Brock's Grit to win this game. I was down to 1 prize at this point. I was like, I just need a Brock's Grit or an energy recycler. Could never find either one of those cards. And he got the knockout to win game 2. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't do anything else here. I'm 2-3. I don't know how I'm gonna make it. And talks were going around like, oh, if you're 6'3", you might be able to bubble in and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't think so, but I'm going to play it out. I came this far, drove 16 hours to Indy. I'm going to play it out and have some fun. So at this point in time, I guess the pressure was off. I wasn't going to make day 2, so we're just going to have some fun. So my next matchup is Mega Gardevoir. And it was... I don't have the Mega, it looks like. Yeah, I don't have the Mega, so... Oh well. So that was Mega Gardevoir. I 2-0'd that one. It was a fun matchup. We had some fun talking about some stuff, and they just were, Mega Gardevoir is 210, just like Mega Mewtwo. And since they were not able to keep the bench space. I think one game I KO'd one hit KO'd the Mega Gardevoir, and they had nothing on the bench, so I got that one that way. Round 7, we played against Volcanian again. And this one I actually won the first game, lost the second game, and I won the third one. The third one, how I won it, it was just more of, I kept that Starmie off the bench. As soon as it hit the bench, I Lysandered it out and tried to kill it right away. And I think third game they just weren't able to recover after I ended them to 1, and I got that win. Volcanian is so 50-50. Like if you look at my record, I won against it 3 times, I lost against it 3 times. It's 50-50 against Bulu. It's tough. So round 8, I'm back at the top tables. I'm like, is it possible that I could somehow shoot up into a bubble in? Like the 2 guys I lost to were doing pretty well, so I was like, maybe I can bubble in somehow at 6-3. And so I'm 3-3 now. I'm like, I just need 2 more wins. No, actually, am I 3-3? I'm 4-3 right now. 4-3, and I'm like, I just need 2 more wins to possibly have a chance at day 2. And lo and behold, the dreaded Espeon GX shows up. Espeon Garb. And I hadn't seen one all day. I'd seen Drampa Garb, which is a little bit more manageable than Espeon Garb. But I 0-2'd that one. This guy was a really nice guy, you know. You could tell he had been practicing and playing this deck against everything because he knew had a counter for everything. And I just couldn't deal with the confusion. And that's the one problem with this deck is there's no outs. I mean, I have 2 float stones and an Olympia. And when you can't get out of confusion, you just kind of sit there. Now, I mean, I let stuff get confused and I tried to get stuff set up on the bench, but then he line-handed it up and confused it. And I was just like, I can't do anything. Game 2, I started off with Hex and I chain hexed him 2 turns in a row. That bought me some more time. And I think the one thing that he was shocked by was when he got ready to attack with Garb. When he got ready to attack with Garb, there were no energies in there. Like, I think one turn, the first game, he blew me up because I just was like powered through energies to try to get around this confusion. When I had the Hex start, I was able to play a little bit more conservatively. I think when he sent up Garb, I only had 5 items. And I just kind of looked at him like, yeah, I play against you all the time. You know, I know what your deal is. Like, I'm not going to feed you energies. I would rather play slow than feed you items. And I think it kind of bothered him a little bit. It didn't matter. I knew I was going to lose anyway. Like, this matchup is not good for me. And so I just was like, I'm going to at least drag it out to possibly make it to a tie. Maybe not. So, of course, I was able to draw prizes the second game. I think I took up to 3. I actually got ahead in the prize count once because I did knock out an Espeon. But yeah, at the end of the day, he did get the win. It was 0-2. That sent me to 4-4. And I was like, well, worst case scenario, you know, we can just go 5-4 maybe. Last match of the day. I don't know how I avoided this all day with how I think it was being played by a lot of people. But the last match of the day was Metagross. And now Metagross, this is the one matchup I can't beat. I gotta either take out Beldums or Matangs or something to get ahead. But from all my play testing, this is the one deck Bulu just cannot beat because he cannot hit the numbers to knock it out, and they can just retreat, put up a fresh one, max potion the one on the bench, and just keep cycling it on, and it's just like it's tough. But this first match, the lady was just dead drawing. My opponent was just dead drawing the whole time, and this is when I was coming in clutch with this. But the problem was I couldn't get the Grubbin that was in active out of the active. I had went through all my energy was on the board. Every Pokemon was fully powered up. The problem was she last-handed her Grubbin up, and the Grubbin only had 1 energy on it, and Grubbin takes 2 energies to retreat. Now, mind you, in her active was a Lele. On the bench was Beldum, Ninetales. Vulpix. 4 basics, all 60 HP. I had a fully charged VikaBulu GX on the bench, ready to use his GX attack. And I was just like, if I can just get it into the active, I can just use his GX attack, wipe the bench off, take 4 prizes. Like, it would have been so epic. And I forgot I had an Olympia in the discard pile. I drew 2 Verse Seekers, and I was just like, I need a Float Stone. I was so focused on getting that Float Stone that after she evolved one of the Beldums to Metang, it hit me that I had an Olympia, and I could have Verse Seeker the Olympia out. So of course I Verse Seeker the Olympia out, I do the Gigatron GX, knock out 3, put some damage on the Metang, and it was just like, you know, it hurt me because I was like, that would have been epic, and like 3 of the 10 Beldums would have been gone. She managed to get a Metagross up eventually, but she couldn't hit the numbers, and she just scooped. So we went to game 2, and game 2 started differently for her and for me. She was able to get things a little bit better set up this time. She wasn't drawing energy though. I wasn't just drawing energy. I couldn't get things set up. I couldn't get this VikaBulu set up because I needed to get it set up faster. I managed to knock out 1 Metagross, but that was after like 3 or 4 max potions. I don't even remember because max potion just ruins how I can take this deck down. And it went to turns. Time was called, and she managed to get a knockout on her 3rd turn because I had a Lele on the bench. She had a Metang. I had a Metagross with the choice band. She got it to the active Lysander of the Lele, took her last 2 prizes. And I was like, if I didn't have the Lele down there or something, she didn't have the choice band or something, I could have possibly, got a 1-1-5-4. But in the end, I ended up 4-4-1. Overall, this deck was not bad. I think this deck was good. I think it's definitely a great deck. But I also think that people have figured out how to counter it, and I think that it will see some play at Worlds. As far as will it be one of the top decks at Worlds, I'm not sure. I don't know how much longer this is going to be hyped up. It's a great deck. I think it's a fast deck. It's a very consistent deck. Once you get a Bulu and a VikaBulu, honestly, that's all you need to run this deck. If you don't run into Hex, if you don't run into Item Lock, if you don't run into Garbotoxin, you are good to go. And I mean, some people have been toying around with Fighting Fury Belts. I think that's a good thing to play. I honestly think the Stadium is a good thing to play as well because it just reduces the damage by 30. Like, it forces them to have to use a little bit more resources to get you knocked out. But it also takes up space like if you go somewhere else. I think you could honestly drop a Flowstone for a Fighting Fury Belt, drop a Choice Band for a Fighting Fury Belt. You hit 180, so there's no need to puff that up even more if you want to take the 1-shots out on the Espeon. So all in all, great deck. Is definitely I'm gonna continue with this deck on to after rotation. I think a lot of stuff is gonna. Only thing in here I think that would hit rotation. I mean, of course, Lysander gets hit. Bridget, which is crucial. I think Bridget gets hit as well if they go that far. If they don't, this deck will still hang around and be very good. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll try to get you some more content later. And I'll be giving a check out the next video. Next video, I'm definitely going to be explaining what the future is going to be about, what the next couple weeks are going to be about. We're going to kind of see in this downtime for the people who didn't make it to Worlds. This is going to be some great time to possibly test out some decks that you could possibly play after rotation. So definitely check that out. I'll be streaming on Twitch. Definitely try to follow us on Twitch. We'll be trying to stream I'll try to stream at least once a week, maybe twice a week. Definitely pop in and say hi, check it out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.